So we're going to write to a file first. In main, then we will import writing so that it runs this file first. When you're writing to a file, it's very simple. You just make up a variable. Usually people call it F for file, whatever you want. And you call the open function, which is a built-in function. You don't even have to import any libraries for it. You specify the file that you want to write to. So you just make up a file name. You do want the txt extension so that whatever you're opening it with understands that it's a text file and will know what program to open it with. And then when you're writing to a file, you do need to specify that that's what you're doing. And with that, to do that, you put a second parameter, which is a W. Okay. So we have the file open. Now we just write some stuff to it. So we call f.write. And then whatever text you want to write. When you're done writing, it's really, really important that you close the file. If you don't close the file, you won't be able to open it up and read it. All right, let's try that. Oop. Ta-da! Did you see it? It made a file. It's there now. It has cool, funny stuff in it. All right. In main, I just imported the Python file that I wrote. We're doing okay? So you can call write as many times as you want, but watch this. Go ahead and do another write. And then play it and then see. So you can see that when you call write a second time, it just tacks it on to the end of the file or the end of the other text that you had already written. By the way, when you write to a file, it overwrites the previous contents of the file. So it's not like whenever you write to a file, it's just going to completely rewrite the whole file. So if I keep hitting play, it's not like it's going to add cool, funny stuff and more cool stuff time and time and time and time again to the same file. It overwrites it every time. So if you want text on different lines, which some of you might for your encryption, you might want like one letter per line or one word per line because you have a lot of words that you want to print or write to the file one line each time. To do that, you have to insert your own new lines. And to do that, you go to either the end of one line or the beginning of another line, and you use what's called an escape character. So find the backslash, it's the one above the enter key, and then type in. I'll make a little note here. The backslash in is an escape character for printing a new line. Or writing, I guess, in this case, instead of printing. So this says print these letters and then also print a new line character. New line characters are actual characters, but they're non-visual characters. You don't see them. but it does go to the next line. There are many escape characters. Try this one and your other one. Try this. Between cool and stuff, do \T. Python recognizes it as an escape character and colors it with the pink color there. So go ahead and run that. And so what we're telling it is write cool stuff to the file, then write a new line to the file, which makes it go to the second line so that if we print more things, it'll be on the second line instead of the first. My more cool stuff didn't really do much of anything. Let's try doubling up on that. See if that does anything. Should make it a little more obvious what's happening. So what does the T do? So it's actually more, so here's a space. If I want spaces, yeah, I can just type in spaces. A tab, yeah. And actually what I notice here about the tab, the whole point of tabbing is to align things. Did you see that my first tab is actually shorter than my second tab? First tab, second tab. It's because the whole point of tabs is that they're variable in length so that you can line up stuff. So if you were like printing stuff out into columns or something like that, that's when you use tabs. So anyway, that's writing to a file. You just call write as much as you want to, and then anytime you want to go to the next line, you use the escape character. Okay, let's read our file now. So let's add another Python file. And it's not like you have to do these in separate files. It's just, I imagine that you'll probably have your encryption and decryption separate. So let's go reading.py. And before we forget, let's go to import in main. Let's import reading instead of writing. Or you could do both if you were like testing out both at the same time. You could write and then read. Whatever. Okay, in reading, we are going to basically do the same thing. We're going to open up the file that we want to read from. So we already have a file there that we'll use. This time, you don't actually have to specify that you're reading it because that's the default mode. So where last time we had a second parameter, we don't need that this time. And then when you read stuff, usually you'll save it as a variable. So you're reading like when we call the input function, when we're getting stuff from the console, we would be like answer equals input, blah, blah, blah. What's your name? So same here, we want to save it as a variable. And instead of doing input, we do f.readLine. Usually when you read, you'd read it line by line. So to see if we got anything, let's print it. And as always, with any reading or writing process, make sure you close the file when you're done. So we have some cool, funny stuff read in from the file. Now, where is our second line of text? Well, we only read in one line. If you wanted the next line, you can just do it again. You can copy and paste this for a quick access to read in both lines. Okay. All right, then the last thing I'll show you is what if I have a whole bunch of lines? Obviously, you don't want to have copy and paste this code a whole bunch of times because, again, you might have like literally one letter per line or one bit per line, or who knows what you're going to have. So I'm going to show you really quick how to do a lot of lines. So go to your text file and do more text in your file. Just click on your text file and just literally type in more stuff. So here, there, everywhere. Okay. So back to reading. Go ahead and comment out the lines that we have so far. Because I'm going to replace it with reading in everything using a for loop. So it looks like this: for line in file. Nope, not file. F. This is like a for each loop, and we like go through lists. You know, we like for each thing in the list, except it does it for each line in the file. It's magic. Different line. It just like reads it in automatically line by line. Line is a string variable, so you can do whatever you want with it. You can print it. You can parse it letter by letter. There we go. What happened? Oh, ah. Okay, got to go back to main, get rid of this. See, I warned you. That's why I warned you. I knew this was coming. Totally wasn't a mistake. Totally planned. Okay, so you're gonna have to go back to your text file, put your stuff back in. Now run it. Yeah. So now it reads in all the text from the file with 2 lines of code. It's pretty nice. The last thing I'll note here is that you may have noticed that our output has empty lines in between it. It's like it's putting extra lines of stuff in between each line from the file. That's because our file literally has these in it. You don't see them, but it literally has those backslashes in it. And when we are reading it in, we're using the print function, which also adds in its own /ins when you output to the console. So we're doubling up on the /ins. If you didn't want to do that, you can do this little trick. Strips off any leading spaces or new lines or tabs. So you just strip it. And now those extra new lines are gone. Okay. All right.